a box of cough plasters, a box of headache plasters, although it's sort of a very old idea and an old technique, the whole way of packaging it and selling it is actually really new. And there we go. That's my first chest plaister.
I do have a bit of a cough, yes.
You do? Mm. And what sort of a cough is it?
A bronchial sort of cough, bit asthmatic.
Do you want to
Retired army medic Anthony Dunford has come in to try the plaister.
What I'm hoping is that as the wax melts, it will release the active ingredient, which is frankincense.
Frankincense.
So you're going to get that sort of pungent smell
aroma
rising up, you know, under your sort of nose. You'll be breathing it in. And it's pointy end down. So that just goes on the centre there. Like that, and we just smooth that. I can feel the warmth of your body's melting that wax. It's more pliable than when I put it on.
That seems to be sticking.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Hey, the self-adhesive plaster. Perhaps I don't need my bandages after all. I mean, the Victorians obviously would have worn it as long as possible, 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So it's really a matter of how much you can put up with before you need to get it off and have a wash.
I'll persevere.
You getting any benefit from that there?
Yes, it's definitely helped. I can actually breathe really deeply now, which is what I couldn't have done, you know, 10 minutes ago. So it's
great.
Really helped. I'm certainly breathing more easy at the moment. So
yeah. Well, since you seem to be enjoying it so much, then I'll leave you there for a while.
Okay, Tom. Don't forget me.
Great. Okay. See you in a bit.
The bronchial kettle was one way of clearing the airways, but another popular method was spitting. If a shop wanted to keep the phlegm off the floor, it was in their interest to provide a spittoon.
What we've got here is a spittoon full of phlegm. Would have been one of the worst duties in the shop to have to empty this thing, basically.
Cleaning them out was a serious health hazard, as the spittoon could easily be contaminated with tuberculosis, a common disease in Victorian times.
The way we think about medicines today, and disease today, I mean, this idea of lots of different people spitting into the same bowl seems slightly bizarre, but I mean, actually, if you think about certainly early 19th century ideas of disease, it's not so weird, because the idea is that really disease is like a visible thing. This is before bacteriology, remember, so there's no idea of sort of a hidden substance there that's going to give you a disease. So although there might be a big sort of, the way we might think of it, there'd be a big kind of huge amount of tuberculosis and all sorts of things festering in this swamp, really. Actually, as far as they were concerned, as long as you get rid of the mucus itself, no problem.
Few things worried Victorians more than their bowel movements, and the pharmacist was able to offer a very special treatment to keep them regular.
The Victorians believed there was nothing like a good purge to make them feel better. It was what you needed to do to clear yourself out. This is something called the everlasting pill. It's one of my favourite remedies from the Victorian age. And particularly at this time, people wanted to purge the body, and this was one of the ways of doing it. And what they used was a pill, a bit like this, which is made out of something called antimony. Antimony is a really heavy metal. It's quite a toxic metal, which we wouldn't use nowadays, but in those days, they didn't see it as that. They'd take this, it would go into their gut, a little bit of the antimony would be dissolved, they'd have vomiting, they'd have diarrhea, and the pill would pass through. And it's called the everlasting pill because it's fished out of the feces at the end, washed up, put on a bottle on the shelf, and any member of the family who wants a good purge takes it the next time they want to take it. And potentially it's passed on through the generations.
Some doctors began to question the wisdom of using such dangerous techniques. The search for alternative, less risky treatments was on. Malvern Spa in Worcestershire offered an alternative therapy, the revolutionary new hydrotherapy cure.
Nice to meet you. I'm in such trepidation about this.
Don't worry, it's only cold water. And remember, it's 5 or 6 in the morning, and I need your help to wet the sheets.
Okay.
Dr. John Harkup has brought the water cure to Blist's Hill.
Have you done this yourself?
Well, not wrapped in a wet sheet, but I had a cold bath on many occasions.
By cold, you mean?
Oh, yes, very cold. We did some research work in the 1990s about this. It was amazing. I mean, I had my blood test before and after a cold bath, and my white cell count went up dramatically.
So this is actually...
Stimulating the immune system.
And it really is. I mean, did they know that in the Victorian period?
I hadn't a clue.
So why were they doing it then? What is this supposed to do for me?
This is supposed to relax you.
To relax?
Yes.
Wet sheets? I don't call that very relaxing.
Well, this is the effect of water, you see. Your heart works more efficiently and harder, and you get a better circulation in other parts of the body. It was so different from bleeding and purging and these heavy metal poisons.
So this is a cure for the same sorts of things that all those really invasive techniques were being used for?
That's right. Of course, non-invasive, really.
The Malvern water cure was first offered in 1842 by 2 local doctors who were appalled by the dangers of the drugs and techniques in common use.
You warm it up very quickly, honestly.
I wish you did hurry up and warm up.
You're impatient. You're an impatient patient.
God, I am. I hate being cold.
You're going to feel better because you've been relaxed and you've been stimulated by the cold water.
Strange though it is, I would rather do this than swallow a dose of arsenic, mercury, or
Lead.
whatever.
Lead.
Lead, exactly. So you could either go to your physician and have something really poisonous prescribed,
Or you could come to Malvern
and have the health regime.
That's right.
One day sort me out?
No. You came for 3 weeks at least.
All right, so you've got all the accommodation costs.
It was 4 guineas a week. And then
That's a lot of money.
it's £400.
There were quite a number of famous names on the patient list.
Yes. Charles Darwin came and he ended up by saying he didn't think the water cure was quackery.
Right.
And Florence Nightingale came when she collapsed after working too hard doing the report for the Royal Sanitary Commission.
Right.
And she wrote 7 years afterwards that she owed her life to the water cure at Malvern, yes.
So how long do I have to stay like this?
An hour.
Right. Great.
And then I'll come and unwrap you.
Okay.
I expect you'll be asleep, actually.
Okay.
Cheerio.
Bye. Oh, I don't like having my feet all tied up. I always pull the bedclothes out at the bottom of the bed when I go to bed.
The Malvern water cure was far more than just being wrapped in wet sheets. Plenty of hill walking and the drinking of endless glasses of spa water were all part of the regime. Taking the waters was hugely fashionable, and manufacturers began producing drinks that mimicked the taste and fizziness of spring water. These quickly established themselves as popular health drinks. Scientist Mike Bullivant will be running the pharmacy laboratory. His working knowledge of 19th century chemistry will be invaluable.
Aerated gassed waters are a really big part of the sales for pharmacists.
Lots of money on it.
Oh, hopefully.
Well, the basic ingredients are cheap enough, aren't they?
So how do we make gaseous water? How do we make
Gaseous water, 3 ingredients.
Yep.
First is water, obviously.
Good start.
We've got citric acid,
Right.
which is an ingredient in today's waters. It's perfectly harmless. Third ingredient, sodium bicarbonate, baking soda. Another harmless compound.
I can see them gassing together there, the gas being produced. Oh, you can see
You
it
get
gassing
carbon
there.
dioxide forming. So there's your aerated water. Now the acid test is, does it pop when you open it?
Okay, give us a puck, give it a go. Whoa! Result.
That's a fairly tight seal on there.
Yeah.
It's a nice design there.
This is a good bottler as well, isn't it? One of the big problems in the early days was that producing this water produced pressure, and the bottles weren't strong enough. Yeah. And the early days, the pharmacists used to have thick woolen jumpers on. They were told to wear them to protect them from the broken glass if the bottle exploded. They tried various other bottles. I've got a couple here which they tried. This was a bottle which they produced because one of the problems was if you produced a normal bottle, put a cork in it, as you did, as the cork dried out, it shrank, pops out. Yeah. And therefore, they produced this bottle which has a round base, so it can't stand and let the cork dry out. It's put down, it rests on its side, so the cork kept permanently wet.
Right, here we are, shallow bath, and this will prepare you for going up the hills. It's to tone you up.
Oh! Blimey! Oh!
Now, there is other things we can do with the water. We can give you a douche. You stood naked underneath one of 3 pipes, 1.5, 2.5, or 3.5 inches in diameter. The water from the springs on the hills was in a cistern,
yeah,
and it drops 20 feet onto your naked body, and you get 56 imperial gallons of cold water going on you. Good doctor. I think I better go and get some more water.
The popularity of aerated or soda waters spread across the empire. In India, British Army officers discovered that mixing soda water and the drug quinine was the perfect tonic for victims of malaria. Simply named Indian tonic water, it became not only the world's most celebrated medicinal drink, but also the perfect mixer for gin. Tom's going to learn how to extract the vital ingredient quinine from the bark of the South American cinchona tree.
So what is this bark then?
Oh, this is the bark from the tree.
Yeah,
From Peru. It was Peruvian bark. It's from the cinchona tree. They've got the quinine out that way by chewing it. Or you can make tea with it. You can boil it up with water. It controls fever, and it stops you shivering. That's one of the things, the reasons they used to take it, which is quite separate from its anti-malarial properties, in killing the anti-malarial parasite. I'm going to take the stuff that you've ground already. This is the ground bark, and mix it up with this very strong alkali, calcium hydroxide.
Right.
And it releases the quinine.
This is the process that we're getting that one element out of all of these then?
We're going to isolate one. It's like a needle in a haystack, I guess. We will be able to isolate quinine and none of the others. Let's add the chloroform.
The solvent chloroform was also popular as a Victorian anaesthetic. Queen Victoria was administered the drug for the birth of 2 of her children.
The quinine will be dissolved in the chloroform. I'm going to really squeeze this extraction procedure.
The next stage is to add sulfuric acid to separate the quinine from the chloroform.
Return that chloroform.
Oh, that's on the custard layer then, right?
The quinine is in this top layer. The custard layer, I like that.
And this would be very highly skilled work for an apprentice as well. This would be kind of almost, if you were going into a laboratory and doing something like this, would be really kind of top of your game sort of stuff.
Tom's chemistry lesson is about to get even tougher.
Tell me if you want a break.
I'm all right so far.
As Mike adds ammonia to the solution, releasing a pungent odour.
I'd do it outside, but I think that one of the reasons for showing you this is to show you what a profession you've joined.
Oh, wow.
That's a turning point. Now, that means that all of the sulfate converted. Right, let's leave that to heat up a little bit and see what happens. Let's go and get some fresh air and a cup of tea.
Okay, great. I'll see if Nick wants to come and have a look.
Good idea.
Hi, Mike. How's the quinine extraction going?
You've arrived at just the right moment, mate. The quinine is in here.
See?
But we've also got a load of rubbish in there, a load of impurity that we don't want, so I'm filtering that off. Quinine should crystallise out. That's the process has worked.
Yep. This is just such a tremendous story of the Victorian times, wasn't it? And it's sort of how things changed in terms of, well, the extraction particularly.
Yeah.
Because quinine was valued so much, wasn't it? There were wars fought over quinine and...
Well, there are certain people who would say that enabled Europeans to colonise Africa, the dark continent.
Yeah.
Because people were going over there exploring Africa, getting malaria and not coming back.
Yeah.
But quinine, because of its antimalarial properties, would actually allow people to come back. Well, you can see it crystallising as it's falling out.
Yeah.
Adding the crystallised quinine to the pre-prepared soda water produces the classic Indian tonic water.
Let's pick up one crystal. It's probably way over the legal limit. But...
I don't think there was a legal limit in those days. I think it was a damn sight safer than anything else they were doing.
There you are, Professor Barber.
Oh, fantastic.
Let's go find some gin.
Sounds good to me.
Tonic water wasn't the only recipe to be brought home from the British Empire. As pharmacists established themselves, customers came to them to make up all kinds of preparations. Not only medicines, but anything that required precision, including exotic food recipes.
This needs to be very, very, very much more precise than I'm used to. I'll grab myself a bowl.
Ruth is attempting to recreate a recipe made famous in 1838 by two Worcestershire chemists, John Lee and William Perrins.
So I tend to be quite a touchy-feely cook, you know. This precision, this being able to produce something exactly the same time after time is what brought in the money.
Worcestershire sauce began life as a recipe for curry powder, brought back from India and given to local pharmacists Lee and Perrins to make up.
Oh, I've gone over. How annoying.
An employee then suggested that it might work better as a sauce.
You see, if I was just cooking, I would have done, it would have been fine. And we've got ginger, obviously, and allspice, pepper, coriander, ground coriander seed, mace, brandy, and asafoetida. An interesting substance. It was used as an aid to digestion for centuries in Persia, which is where it's from. It helps to, it stops flatulence, basically. This, like many of these ingredients, actually were felt to have medicinal properties, of course, as well as being nice tastes. And that could be some of the reason why they're in here. I mean, the asafoetida, you know, this is a sauce, a relish to eat with food, so the fact that it might help to calm your digestion would be really useful, would be a benefit, a bonus. Now, the vinegar.
But Lee and Perrins found the resulting mixture so distasteful that they abandoned it in the shop's cellar. Years later, while clearing out the cellar, they discovered the sauce had fermented into something far more acceptable, and the new product was born.
My instinct is just to guess. Right, that's all of those in there. A nice spicy, spicy mix.
If a recipe proved particularly appealing, there was nothing to stop pharmacists from selling their own preparation en masse. Some of today's biggest brand names started from such humble origins.
Mr. Lee and Mr. Perrins thought it tasted utterly disgusting at this stage, so... I think that's powerful. It's strong, and it's quite nice. Maybe I've got a stronger palate than Mr. Lee and Mr. Perrins. Yeah, that looks quite good. All I've got to do is come up with a name. In the 1840s, getting the name right, getting the brand right, was really important if you wanted to sell those. Barber & Goodman's Spectacular Shropshire Sauce.
Ruth's Spectacular Shropshire Sauce joins the pharmacy's new range of branded products.
The end of the process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just getting an insight into all the different processes that went into making this stuff, obviously, you know.
I know, it is different, isn't it? The whole business of making stuff and then selling it. It's quite...
You can see how people would have felt really proud of what they've achieved as well,
Yeah.
you know, in terms of seeing it through from the very inception.
It we go.
There's a sense in which the chemist and druggist is becoming a much more powerful force in some way. Through, on the one hand, you know, being hard-headed businessmen and making their shops into profitable going concerns, if you like. And on the other hand, saying, we're going to introduce chemical knowledge into the pharmacy.
To celebrate their first week in business, Barber and Goodman are holding an open evening, a chance to offer some of their new products to the public and to catch up on how their customers are doing.
Sauce? You only need a tiny bit, it's as strong. You know, you want a couple of drops on your chips sort of sauce. Those sorts of flavours.
It's that scrunched. It is. There's something about it that just gets me.
I've really enjoyed this first experience of early Victorian medicine. It's been such a combination of so many things from the past and new experiments into the future. We've been launching off now into the new science, and if anything, this experience has really sort of whetted my appetite for the next finding out, and the next where did it go from here.
Oh, there we go.
Once the actual steam kettle got going and the actual herbs came through, there was that 10-minute spell when the smell of rosemary and everything came in, and that was beautiful, that was.
Once it got going, it was really exciting for me.
I'm still got the bruise, unfortunately.
Still got the bruise.
Yeah.
Let's have a look then, let's see how it went.
We've gone shades of yellow in the middle.
It's changing, like they do. I would say those remedies have had no effect whatsoever. What do you think?
I'll be tempted to agree.
Yeah?
And they've been as a nuisance, to be honest. The main issue is actually going to bed knowing that I've got worm on my arm and then lying there and actually not wanting to get the duvet on the worm with that knowledge in mind. It's also, it's greasy and it kind of,
yeah.
I'm constantly kind of aware that I'm just getting it on my clothes, it doesn't really soak in, so I can't see the appeal, to be honest, to actually use it.
It's not looking like a good remedy to sell in modern day times.
I can't see it making it on the market today.
I found this, seeing how the Victorians approach pharmacy, fascinating. There's a spirit and adventure and entrepreneurism there. We're understanding the nature of the interaction between the medicine and the patients themselves.
Very, very nice. In fact, you know, I would swish it around a bit before I swallowed it.
That's lovely. With the time, you can really use it as a gargle.
Yes. And it helped get rid of the soreness that I did have in the throat. I can actually say, yes, it has helped a lot.
And has it eased your breathing?
It's much better. Before, as I breathed out, it was very crackly, it was very difficult, a typical asthmatic type feeling, and it has helped. I can feel as though I've breathed normally again for the first time in more than 3 weeks.
Oh, lovely.
Which is super.
I'm dying to ask, how long did that plaster last?
About 3 hours.
About 3 hours? Well, that's more than I thought, actually. What was it like?
Well, I've never had chamois leather next to my skin, but it is quite comfortable. But I didn't get any feeling of the frankincense.
Right.
There didn't seem to be any essence coming out of it at all.
And what, I mean, when it fell off, it just sort of straight to the floor?
Just literally just peeled off and just dropped at my feet.
And so, let's have a toast.
All right.
Or perhaps we should say good health.
Yeah, good health.
Good health.
May you all come back as customers, often.
By the end of the 1840s, scientific advances were beginning to filter down to the high street pharmacist. Old ideas of bloodletting and purging gave way to exciting new techniques and cures. And pharmacists would spearhead a whole new range of consumer experiences.
Nipple shields. Blood and stomach pills, wow.
Next time on Victorian Pharmacy, the medicine that was supposed